Tony, welcome to Government.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
I gotta pat you down though, pal.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
Got anything on you? Anything I should know?
I got nothing.
Anything weird going on?
What?
All right, you go in, Tony. Good.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Tom Kelly of The Tom Kelly Show. Yes, this is not the only time I've gotten on my knees in the back room of a comedy club.
The Knockem Dead Comedy Radio Show is also brought to you by Two Eagles Auto Body. For more than 25 years, Two Eagles Auto Body has been the leader in auto body repairs and customer satisfaction on Long Island. Two Eagles Auto Body handles every type of auto repair, from custom applications and restorations to repairs involving insurance claims. Give Two Eagles Auto Body a call and please ask for John Rossi at 516-328-2527. That's 516-328-2527.
Hey, how do you say there, people? It's Johnny Brennan, creator of the Jerky Boys, also of Fox TV's Family Guy fame. I just want to let you know you're listening to Tony on the Knockem Dead radio show. They're gonna keep knocking them dead, so keep listening, you wacky sons of bitch. Right there. Over and out there, sweet Charlie.
Long time no see, man. Hey, man, I miss you guys, man, at Knockem Dead Comedy Radio.
Hey, Tony, you're not funny, and you probably shit yourself a lot, and you're no fun to be with, and you don't make that much money, and you're not going anywhere in show business, and I hope you get hit by a bus.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is Friday, and welcome to the Knockem Day Comedy Show, coming at you live from the legendary Governor's Comedy Club in Levittown, New York. It's going to be a great show today, folks. I'll tell you that. The Knockem Day Comedy Show, we're on Gov's Comedy Club podcast, the YouTube channel, the Facebook page. No matter which one you're on, just be sure to share the link and tell everybody you know about all the great shows here at Gov's Comedy Club podcast. If you're on Facebook, please follow the page. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe and please hit the thumbs up. If you'd like to comment throughout the show, you want to hear your comments read, you want to hear your name said, please switch over to the YouTube feed because that is where we're monitoring the comments. And as soon as he's ready, I don't know what he's doing over there, but we have, well, should we wait for him? We have the legendary.
I'm sorry, did you say something?
Do you get like I miss flashbacks when you're sitting in a studio like this?
No. No. Because Imus was actually talented. So, they were in, there's a table and microphones. That's where it kind of ends, as far as I'm concerned.
Would it help if I had like bad hair? Like,
where's Shemp? I was hoping to get serenaded on the guitar.
Well, no, my brother's a guitar player, not me. But you play, so be sure.
No, I don't play.
You play a little bit.
I'm a drummer. I play 3 chords. That's it.
That's three more than me. Hey, Rob Bartlett is here, ladies and gentlemen. Comedy legend Rob Bartlett. Been in this studio before, but the first time officially on this show, which I'm very excited about.
All right, so that's it?
That's it. Thank you very much. Your shirt actually reminds me of a story.
Of course. I love his stories.
Do you?
Oh, no.
Well, I'm shocked you even know who I am, let alone hear my stories. This is, you'll like this story. Okay. Well, not really. I was at a Beatle Fest, it was either 97 or 98. I can't remember which one. And they were having the, I don't know, it's not a battle of bands, but they let all these different people.
Sound-alike contest.
Yeah, whatever you call it.
I know.
All these people are going up and they're playing their songs.
Was this a story where I was singing along and it was annoying you and you turned around to say something and realized it was me and you decided, no, I can't interrupt the Rob Bartlett singing Beatles songs? Is that the only story you have, by the way? Because this is like the 3rd time I'm fucking hearing it.
I do. I repeat my stories all the time on it because I figured people only watching once. So I figured I better get all my stories
well, that's what you tell yourself.
Well, they watch once for about 5 seconds.
I was going to say.
Except for today because they see that you're on.
Well,
so they might say a little less.
I figured I'd throw you a bone.
Thanks for that.
It's about time. You've been hounding me for the past 4 fucking years. I figured I gotta break down at some point. And
That's pretty much true, actually. Which leads me to my first question. Because we met here in the club, and you were nice enough to come in with Nelson, which was just unbelievable to me. That was one of those pinch me moments. But we really kind of met through Riccadonna and Byrne, which leads to my first question: How much of an asshole are those two?
Oh, they give podcasting a bad name.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just, they go from one bad outlet to another. Riccadonna, I think he's half in the bag by 7:30 in the morning. And, Richie Byrne's like, ooh, the big part's coming, I know it. So.
I was on The Sopranos.
Yeah. Don't think I'm not pissed off about that.
What, you're pissed off about? Why, you were up for that referee role? Were you really?
Yeah.
I did. Well, all right, there's a story I didn't know.
Okay.
Come on, when was the last time you had to audition for a role? You're Rob Bartlett.
Well, you got to audition for legitimate stuff. It's not like, I did a theater thing up in Connecticut this past winter. I did Grumpy Old Men the musical.
Nice.
Up at Seven Angels in Waterbury, and they just offered me the part, which was. It was a natural. It was the Walter Matthau part. So
nice.
That was great. But you go up for like TV and like Elementary, The Good Wife, Law and Order, SV, all those you go audition for.
Really?
Yeah. It's like because you throw a rock down Broadway, you're going to hit 9 actors. So it's not like there's a limited talent pool. If it's not you, it's going to be somebody else.
Right. I get that, but you don't. You must be somewhat kind of like you must be known in the business.
Here is superstardom. Here is being a total unknown. All right.
Okay.
And I'm about here.
Come on, really?
There are different levels of being. there's a.
But I'm talking about in the business. I'm not talking about to the general public.
Here's the way show business works.
Okay.
It's who's Rob Bartlett. Then it's get me Rob Bartlett.
Yeah.
Then it's get me a Rob Bartlett type.
Oh, okay.
Then it's get me a young Rob Bartlett. And then it's who's Rob Bartlett. That's the cycle of a show business career. So,
right.
I'm at the level now where it's like, get me Rob Bartlett, a younger, fatter Rob Bartlett. That's where I'm at now.
So you're at the tail end. You're telling me.
No, I mean that's the thing about show business. For what's left of it, you can do it until you croak.
Well, yeah.
Or if it doesn't kill you first. But yeah, I mean it's. You just brought me. It's freaking Friday, and you let's just piss on the parade here. Let's just everything. Jesus, I was in a great mood. I came in, and now talking about
you were not. You were coming here with me. You were not in a great mood about that.
I had to fake it. That's acting.
See, that's how talented the man is, right there.
Jesus.
Favorite Beatle album.
Favorite Beatle album?
That's what I said.
That's a hard one because depends on the mood I'm in.
Oh, right.
Sometimes it's the early Beatles. Sometimes it's the Meet the Beatles, which was the American version.
Yep.
That I first came to know them. Sometimes it's A Hard Day's Night. Sometimes it's Abbey Road, the White Album. Pepper's, I think, been overplayed for me, but I love these other bands like was it Oasis and then Michael Stipe from REM, who are all say that the Beatles were shit, the Beatles were nothing, and it boggles my mind.
Those fuckers wouldn't be around today if it wasn't for the Beatles.
Well, thank you. You're listening to Useless Shit That Nobody Cares About with your host, Shemp's brother.
That's every day. That's exactly what the show is. Freeform, pointless, nothing. And Shemp comes in on Fridays, and I think people like to hear their name said. Like John Rusciello says, "Good morning." There you go. A guy named Dear God. Hello, Mr. Tony. I'm ready for a good podcast. So after
change stations. Find another one. If you want to get a good one, I suggest the Rewatchables. That's a good one.
Well, what about the Rob Bartlett Comedy Hour?
Well, the Rob Bartlett Radio Comedy Hour is, we're no longer putting out new episodes, but there's a couple of hundred of them still up on.
Was it really that many?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah, we started out, it was, my idea was to do kind of an on the radio version of Saturday Night Live.
Right.
And so we started out, there was a small performance space at ABC, when it was still at ABC. And I had a troupe, I had a group of people. And we would write and perform sketches in front of microphones like the old Jack Benny show.
Right.
And we had sound effects and we had musical guests on.
Nice. Like Michael Stipe?
Yeah, right. We had some great bands on. And that eventually turned into us going into the radio studio because we couldn't do it live in front of an audience.
Oh, wow.
And so we were doing it. So they were putting us on Saturday nights, I think at 10 o'clock. And then they took the studio away from us. That radio station just went in the shitter really quick.
Yeah, which is a shame.
And so then it ended up just being me, in my kitchen, writing, performing, doing all the voices, doing the editing, putting in the sound effects and the music. But now I have one that, I update about once a month at this point because I just don't have any fucking time. Thank you. It's 5 favorite funny films with Rob Bartlett.
That's next on my list here, yeah.
Which is, I get funny people to pick their 5 favorite comedy movies and tell me why. And we play clips and we talk, and it always goes in interesting directions,
I bet.
Because it's like, you can tell a lot about a person by what their 5 favorite movies are, or what the 5 favorite funny movies are,
yeah,
or who their favorite Beatle is.
Exactly.
You can tell a lot about it. Who's your favorite Beatle?
Lennon.
Yeah.
You?
Pete Best. It's an identical triplets joke.
That's good. I should have said Scott Muni or something.
I actually got to meet Scott Muni, and after years of doing him on the radio.
Yeah.
And he said, it's the best impression of me I've ever heard. Matter of fact, when I go to a commercial that I'm actually on, I always say, and here's my favorite radio actor, Rob Bartlett.
That's classic.
Great guy.
Really,
Great
yeah.
guy. Oh, God.
What an icon for sure, man.
Jesus.
Did he really sound like that?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah.
he had a great radio voice.
Oh yeah, man.
And he was also just, an encyclopedia.
Well,
and all
towards
these
the end,
great
he was
stories.
him and Ralph Kiner, like they were on the air a little too long. They should have, kind of pulled.
Well, when's it going to happen for you? Too late. It's already started.
And the best, remember when, what was it? A guy was he gonna jump off a bridge or something? And he called Scott Muni.
Yeah,
You remember
or
that?
he was robbing a bank.
Oh, that's what it was,
He was
yeah.
held hostages in a bank or
That
something.
was it, yes.
And Scott so talked him out of it.
Yeah.
And he had Lennon on numerous times. He
Oh
had
yeah.
Harry Chapin premiered Cats in the Cradle on the show.
Wow, I didn't know
In the
that.
studio, and just left. Muni couldn't speak.
I bet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
What
one
a
of those
song.
moments. But yeah, I mean, that's when radio was radio. I mean, now
Right. It's not like that anymore.
It doesn't exist.
No.
Everything is going to be streaming.
Yeah, but even with streaming those type of shows where you had, I remember the Who one time just walked in like they weren't even playing, and then they could play whatever they want, they could talk about whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's why I stay. Well, not that anybody else wants me, but that's why I stay in here because I try to keep the doors open. Like just this past August, Joey Colin Minervini walked in.
Oh wow!
And
what a get!
Yeah, you weren't invited, but but to me, I'm like, and those are the moments that I grew up on, or we grew up on. Well, you grew up on the tablets, the cavemen. Like you were probably there for the first joke ever written.
See, when you have a funny person on the show, you need somebody to provide rest periods in between the laughter. So I just wanted to let him do his thing.
I tell you right now, I'm gonna be hurting from laughing by the time this one's over. I'm already like tearing up, and we're only 10 minutes in. The 5 favorite funny films. So it's only audio.
Yeah, it's only audio.
So where do they find it?
It's on Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
Spotify, all those. It's,
Right.
Wherever you get your podcasts. So that's what used to make me laugh as I say, you can find it wherever books are sold.
Yeah, right.
So not where cheese is sold, you won't find the book.
Well, now it's just it's now at your house. Like you don't even have to go
Everything's at
anywhere.
your house.
So
You won't ever have to leave your house.
Right.
I'm waiting for that to happen for you.
This is my house. I live here.
Nice place.
In the guest room, Angel Salazar, used to sleep, throughout the weekends.
Come on.
What?
I feel bad.
Well, I didn't say anything bad about him.
Well, no, but he's not with us anymore.
All right, so we can't talk about somebody that.
No, but it's like a really low blow dig.
That wasn't a dig. That's the truth. He used to sleep in that room, right over there.
Oh my God, you're so easy. It's not even fun. It's so easy.
Well, when you have 90 minutes to fill every day, you just like I
know.
It's
90 minutes, but it'll feel like 3 hours.
All right, how about favorite Beatles solo album? How about that?
I got a soft spot in my heart for the Ringo album.
Oh yeah,
because they were all on it in one way or another.
Yep,
that was a huge thing, and I think "Photograph" was one of the greatest songs ever written.
Agreed.
Love that song.
Just last week, they re-released George Harrison's "Living in the Material World" album, and as a bonus track, his version, him singing lead on "Sunshine Life of Me." Sail Away, Raymond.
Yes. I've just listened to that yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a big deal for us Beatle geeks.
Yeah, yes, chapter and verse. It's not. It's a sickness.
But it's a sickness that you're okay with.
Yeah, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you ever met?
Okay, that's great.
Have you ever met a Beatle?
Almost.
That doesn't count.
Almost. I am friends with Billy J. Kramer.
Oh, he's been in here.
Yeah, of course. He's got nowhere else to go either. No, he's out in L.A. now. I think he's.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he just put out a new album.
Yes, I heard some of it. Yeah.
He tells the single greatest story I've ever heard about the Beatles.
Really?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know Billy J. Kramer, he was one of the British Invasion guys from Liverpool, managed by Brian Epstein, the Beatles manager. And Brian Epstein used to put the yoke on Lennon and McCartney and have them churn out songs for all his other artists.
Right.
And Billy J. Kramer was one of them. Matter of fact, Billy J. Kramer recorded Do You Want to Know a Secret before the Beatles did.
Right.
And Billy hated that song. Actually, he took the acetates and gave it to a woman at the airport behind the ticket counter. So somewhere she's got,
Wow.
unbelievable, something that's worth $1 billion.
Yeah, right.
So one day Paul calls him, and he says, "Yeah, I got this song that I've written. I don't think it's good for us, but if you like it, you could have it."
It's pretty good.
And so, thank you.
No, please.
Because normally John would write the songs for him. John wrote "Bad to Me," which is one of Billy's big hits.
Yeah.
So he goes over to Paul's flat, and Paul plays him this song. And Billy goes, "That's about it. I don't like it. You got any rockers?" Paul goes, "No, I'm sorry. I don't. It was yesterday."
Really?
Yeah, McCartney offered yesterday to Billy J. Kramer, and he turned it down. So
I've never heard
Isn't that a
that
great story?
anywhere in
It's a great story.
in Beatle books. Nothing. We had him twice. He didn't. That's some of his.
He laughs about it. It's just such a great story.
Can you imagine? Holy shit! Wow, that floors me. That's crazy.
Cool
Wow.
story.
Yeah. Wow. That's yesterday, which is the most recorded song in history.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That's the whole story there. I was shocked when I first started doing the show in here. A friend of mine told me that Billy J. Kramer lives in Plainview. I was like, what?
He used to live in Huntington, and then he moved to Plainview. His wife passed a couple of years ago.
And that's when he took off.
He wrote. He was very instrumental in getting Brian Epstein into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I didn't know that.
Or he is trying to. I don't know if Brian's been inducted.
Yeah, he has been. Yes.
All right, so that's because of Billy J. Kramer.
Wow.
Matter of fact, I met Billy here.
The Nelson, right? The Nelson.
No, he came to see me. I guess it's got to be almost 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And he was in the audience, and then came backstage afterwards. It was like, I don't know if you know who I'm about, Billy J. Kramer. I was like,
yeah, right.
I saw my 6 degrees of separation got closer.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out if there's a way I can get like 9 degrees of separation between you and me. That's what I'm trying for.
I think there's probably like 15 degrees at least. This is...
That's good. That's good.
Oh, thanks.
See what it's like when you...
See, yeah, it rubs off. But I don't know. There's other things I'm catching too that's rubbing off. But I was shocked. I had no idea the man lived this guy so close to Beatle history lived right here. So we got him to come in. We twice had a great time. Both actually, I take it back. Called in once, and then he was in here. Had a great time, and it was raving when he was leaving. Oh, it's such a great time. You do the accent. It's such a great time. Thanking us left and right. And then was it the Nelson tribute that he came here for?
I don't think it was that. I don't think he came.
There was some show he was here for. It was packed. I could have sworn it was that show. Whatever show it was. It's packed. He's here. And I'm thinking, all right, well, it'd be cool to see him again and say hi. So he's leaving. He's leaving right out here where you came in. Mm-hmm. We're right outside this studio. So I said, hey, Billy, nice to see you again. I'm telling you, he had no idea who I was. I'm like, son of a bitch. I'm right outside the door that he came in. You would think maybe it would be like a click and nothing.
You seem to have that effect on people.
Exactly, especially women, yeah. And now, and then, so he went to L.A. I thought I heard he went back to London, but...
he was for a while. He went back to Liverpool, he's promoting the albums.
Right. Do you know Donna Drake?
Yeah.
When he first finished this album, he had a listening party at Abbey Road, and he invited her. She went. She was inside Abbey Road.
Oh, I didn't realize she was such a good friend of his.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you and me.
We worked together. We did shows together, Billy and I.
Oh, so you met him here, and then eventually it developed into doing shows together?
Yeah, we were friends. I mean, we did a show together. It was, I would open.
Yeah.
And then...
What does he need you for?
Let me explain it, please. Can I finish a fucking story?
Who's stopping you?
And I would introduce him, and I would interview him about his career, and then he would sing. But we did My Father's Place together.
Nice.
We did a couple of shows together like that. But
that's cool.
He's got some stories, boy. Holy moly!
And I bet you probably didn't even have to do research. I mean, it was probably all right there, right?
Sad. It's very sad.
Kinda.
That's how limited my life is.
Yeah, but that's when being a geek pays off, because you get to do stuff like that.
I know, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that must have been. How many? You did a lot of those? Like, did you tour around?
We did like 4 or 5 of them.
Oh, that's it. Come on.
The business is not the same, unless you have a TikTok channel and 3 million followers,
Yep.
And then you come in and you do whatever the 10 minutes you're famous for, and then answer questions and sell merch.
Right.
That's what the business has turned into.
That is what it's turned into.
There's very few guys left.
It's kind of upsetting. And I mean, I've seen it here. They'll bring in these YouTube, TikTok sensations, and it packs the place out. And so I'm not knocking governors by any means. You want to, of course, you want to fill the place up.
They got to, they got to,
they got to survive. However, my personal point of view, and I've seen it here with a few of these YouTube sensations, they'll come in because they were YouTube. They've never performed in front of an audience before. Like you just said, they do 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Maybe the 10 minutes are good. Mm-hmm. I saw one kid, and I can't even remember his name because I haven't heard of him since, but he was doing his thing, but he insisted on bringing his people to, feature and open up and whatever. One of his guys comes out. The place goes nuts. All these girls are screaming. I have no idea who this dude is. But, good for him. He's making his mark. But he comes out. He's only 27 years old, and I think he was 18 or 19 when he had cancer, some kind of cancer. He does 20 minutes on his cancer battle. Not making it funny or Ziegler, John Ziegler? John Ziegler did, when he had his cancer battle, and I'll never forget he actually sat with me one day, and he was going over, because I'm a cancer survivor, and he was going through his bits with me, how he wanted to present, make an act out of it. Fantastic, and he's been doing it, and it's crushing everywhere he goes. John is amazing. But this kid is just talking about his cancer battle. You see it in the audience. They're all kind of looking at each other. They're getting mad. They're like, we want to laugh. We don't want to sit here and hear about your sad cancer battle. But that's what these guys are doing. They're not doing anything funny. It's weird to me.
I'm sorry. You thinking? No, I know what you're saying. And governance that's why governance is still around.
Well, yeah.
They change with the times. They know what's,
Yeah.
To stay in business. But, it used to take you 3 or 4 times to pass an audition at like Catch or the comic strip.
Yeah.
And then that meant you could get on like at 2:00 in the morning.
Right.
And it would be a couple of months of that. And then you could finally get on a weekday show. And then the spots would be better times. And you'd be doing weekends. And then you climb the ladder. Now people are auditioning on a Monday, and they have a special by Friday. And It's just every time you turn around, it's just I've been in the car listening to the Sirius XM Comedy Channel, and literally 45 minutes will go by, and I'm not aware that there have been 6 different comedians.
Right.
In that 45 minutes, because they all sound the same. They all do the same material. It's the same take, the same delivery. It's bizarre. It's very strange. I know I sound like just a bitter old man, and because I am, boys and girls, a bitter old man.
And a smelly old
man. But it's different, But even, Broadway is that way. It's television now, and movies. I mean, you can't make money in a movie theater anymore with a movie.
Yep.
So.
There's I was recently talking about that with somebody in here. I was talking about in Belmore, you have the Belmore Theater. It's one house. Mm-hmm. They basically have the freedom to show anything they want. Movies you won't see anywhere else, but they also have a stage. So sometimes they do live events as well.
I've worked that room. It's cool.
Well, anybody can work that room. It's only $300 to rent it out. But so but that's the way to go. I think, because that's the only way I think a place like that would survive.
Alamo, cinema. You know, you got to show things that you can't get streaming. You know,
Right.
and be able to have a beer. You know,
Yeah,
because
sure.
but there's nothing like being part of an audience. That's the thing. I think that's one of the things that's
I
only keep
agree.
Broadway going is you have more people in a room that are looking for the same thing or have that connection.
Yep.
And you know, it's a different experience when you're watching it in a theater with a whole bunch of people
Completely.
than sitting at home. And you know, I don't care how big your screen is and how 4K it is and
Right.
sound system. It's, you're still on your couch with the dog. You know,
Right.
It's not.
Right. We were talking about that in here recently. Going back several years, A Fish Called Wanda. Such an experience in the theater that was, for me personally, that was one movie where in the theater it was the best movie. At home it's like, you need that energy of all these people around you.
That's true.
And even with comedy, and I bring it up all the time, and you're the perfect guy to bring it up in front of. I think one of the only negative things I have to say about Jerry Seinfeld was that he changed the game almost too much with his observational comedy, because to this day, I mean, it's been, over 30 years since his show premiered, but to this day, that's still what everybody is doing. Back in, minus 2 BC was, the characters and the improv, and you and Nelson and Jackie and Eddie Murphy, like doing and even you on Imus doing all the characters. You don't see that anymore, and that's upsetting to me.
Well, it requires talent. And I think.
So how did you end up doing it?
All right.
That's my one.
One in a row. Yeah, I mean, Jerry, when I first got into the city, 'cause I've been doing comedy a couple of years before got into the city, and it was because Richie opened the East Side, and the city guys would come out to work for real money, and then they would put in a good word for us in the city so we could get on in there.
Yeah, sure.
And Jerry was, even back then, he was the man. People would imitate him. Like, I don't know if they were aware of it, or probably they were aware of it because he used to wear the shirt button but no tie.
Right.
And, and then it was one of those things. But did you ever notice? And, who are these people? All these tropes now that are there all because of Jerry.
Right.
And Jerry, I got to say, he worked for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, no, he really did.
Oh, he was great. Absolutely.
I was in Fort Lauderdale with him at the comic shop, and, comics during the day, you go to the beach, you go to the movies, you go to the mall, you go to lunch, and then you go and you do the show at night. He's back at the condo 3 hours every day writing in his notebook.
Right.
I mean, that's dedication. That's what.
Well, yeah, he made that one special. Did you ever see that one special where he saved all the notes through the years?
Yeah.
And he's just sitting in it.
Yeah.
And it's
amazing
to see.
Yeah, he's one of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not knocking him. He's a genius, but that's just a negative of his effect.
There was a comic and improv act called Uncle Dirty. I don't know if you ever heard of
Uncle Dirty?
Uncle Dirty.
No.
Bob Altman was his name. He was back during the time of Lenny Bruce, but was still doing it in the 80s and the 90s. And matter of fact, supposedly some of Lenny Bruce's stuff was stolen from Uncle Dirty. Anyway, Uncle Dirty said something to me. I'll never forget it. He said, "You're trying to make a brain surgeon salary. You got to do the brain surgeon work.
Oh yeah,
you got to do the homework.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really what it's about."
So Uncle Dirty. So Lenny Bruce. You're going back. Well, when that happened, if Lenny Bruce stole his stuff, we're talking about the '60s, probably.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But I mean, Uncle Dirty was around all that time.
Right, and you were probably around 40 at that point.
Yeah, about.
Yeah. Wow, that's yeah, and you're right. Though I mean, yeah. Again, I'm not trying to badmouth Jerry Seinfeld, but it's just to me that said, I love the characters. Like again, when you and Nelson were sitting on that couch, I mean, I'm sitting right here with what I think Christy Miller was here, and forgive me, I forget who else was here, but to almost have almost our own private show of you guys doing those old characters. That's gold.
There's a lot to be said for chemistry. There's a lot to be said for a commonality. You know, we were in the trenches together. You know, the Identical Triplets was formed because we liked working with each other. We were friends, and we wanted to figure out a way we could get all booked in the same show. You know, do Jersey, you know, a ground round in Jersey. Well, there'd be a 3-act show. Well, to book the three of us because we also do these character sketches and stuff in between, and then we do improv at the end. And
so good.
So, and Bob and I, when Eddie was, you know, first on SNL, he wasn't, you know, doing many stand-up shows anymore, and Bob and I, especially at the East Side, would do, I'd be on the show or he'd be on the show and the other one would show up, and there'd be a point where after the show was over or when it was close to being over, we'd bring the other one up and we would do these things, these character pieces. And so I hadn't seen him, had to be 20 years.
When you guys, that night?
Yeah. I hadn't seen him in about 20 years.
No kidding.
Yeah. And it was like I just seen him the day before because the two of us were just sitting there and we had the stupid headsets on. And so all of a sudden, we're pilots.
Right.
And we're just, you know, doing a thing. And it was one of those chemistry things. We knew each other's rhythm. We knew how each other thought.
Yeah.
And I'd say something and he'd build it. Improv, you know, the yes and.
Exactly,
you know,
right.
And, you know, we had more fun doing that. I mean, and the triplets really started at Dixon's one night when the three of us wanted to do something that would not go to the club. We decided we needed a social life. We were not going to go. So we tried to go to the movies, couldn't get in. Tried to go bowling, couldn't get in. So we ended up at Dixon's. And we weren't on the show, but we took over the stage. And Eddie was wearing a jacket, like a fur jacket. And I said he looked like an Eskimo. And so he became the Eskimo, Nelson became the hunter, and I was the walrus. and we did this improv. It was a 20-minute improv, just the three of us. And it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It was magical.
Yeah,
you know?
right.
You know, that's the stuff I miss. I miss that kind of collaboration. It's why I love doing theater, because it's the rehearsal, being together and doing that kind of stuff. It's...
Like you said, in the trenches. Yeah, you have that shared experience, and it is magical, and you never, like you said, 20 years later, you never kind of, once that bond is formed, you never lose it.
That's how you know when you're with a really good friend, you know, you pick up right where you left off.
Yeah,
you know?
sure. So if you saw Eddie Murphy today, you think that would happen?
Absolutely.
Really? And how long has it been since you've seen him?
45, 50 years.
Oh, so you haven't seen him since he... Really?
I saw him when I did a pilot for his production company. 2 pilots, actually, in L.A., and I saw him and was up at his first house in Beverly Hills. It was Cher's old house, and it was set up like a pyramid, and apparently had a retractable roof.
Oh, my goodness.
And he was there with his posse, all the guys, you know, Fruity and Ray Ray, and he was exactly, I mean, we were like, I was making him laugh, and
really?
We used to do this thing where we would go to the mall or there was an arcade, and it keeps going back to Fort Lauderdale, but those were some of the best gigs because it's just so much fun. Nathan's had the only arcade, and so we would go to Nathan's, and we'd play the games, and then we would sit, and then we would just watch people going by, and we would talk about the people and then become the person.
Right.
And the idea was who can make each other laugh the hardest. Nothing better than making Eddie laugh. Nothing better. He was just, because he surrendered, you know, completely surrenders to it. You know?
Right, right.
But man, he says, "You like my place?" Somebody, Nathan's. That's my name. Nathan Famous. Nathan S. Famous. And he just does this whole, you know.
Oh, that's
fun.
Classic stuff.
Fun.
I just a couple of months ago was here in the Giggle Room. There were these 2 brothers out of Staten Island. I think Greg and Rob, I think they're called. But they went up. They go up together, and I was laughing my ass off. And you know, it just kind of hit me. You know, you don't see. I mean, they weren't doing characters or anything, but just to have a duo up there, like you don't see that anymore either. You don't see duo acts either. You know,
it's hard.
It's sad to me though to lose these. And you're right. You do worry about my get off my grass type of guy, but I just don't think so. I'm sure there are plenty of youngsters today. If they went up on stage as a duo, they would kick ass.
You know, it's like anything else. It's just the Catskill era with the guys who wore tuxedos to work.
yeah.
And then that just kind of evolved into the Robert Klein wearing the jeans and the work shirt, and then it just, it evolves, it morphs, it becomes, it's a sign of the times. It kind of goes along with that, and because of screens, because of this, and because of COVID, and the changes were drastic, really drastic.
Yeah.
And so nothing's really the same, and it's just a reinvention.
Yeah.
But as long as, there's a world, people are going to need to laugh because.
Yeah. All right.
So, we're fucked if we're depending on you.
Well, yeah. Believe me, I know it. All right. So we talked about Eddie Murphy. So I'm gonna throw some names at you. And let's see what you have to say about these particular. All right. So I'm gonna start off light.
Okay.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Really great person. We did How to Succeed in Business together on Broadway, and he showed up to the first rehearsal completely off book, knew all his lines.
Oh, wow.
Knew all his music, knew all his choreography.
The first rehearsal?
First rehearsal.
Holy moly.
Nathan Lane, same thing. First rehearsal, Odd Couple, knew.
That I believe.
Cold.
I saw Nathan Lane, and funny thing happened on the way to the Forum. God, he's
unbelievable.
Yeah, unbelievable.
He's a force.
Yes.
He's a force. But Daniel is just, and we had a reunion last March, actually.
Oh, wow.
Because I was coming down from having rehearsal in Waterbury and just missed a couple of the people who had been there and I had to leave. And Daniel was there. And it was, again, like he just saw him the day before. He'd throw your arm around him,
really?
hug and catching up. And it was just so great. He's the real deal.
Is it possible he thought you were his grandfather
Probably,
or something? Yeah.
Probably.
One of my favorites, John Larroquette.
Also, just a really great guy.
Another force, in my opinion.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And can get more laughs with just a raised eyebrow.
Yes.
He just knows how to do it. And so he and I used to stand off stage during the overture. And we would stamp our feet. It's traditions and these superstitions.
Yeah,
and there were three notes at the very beginning, and then we would doom, doom, doom together. And we would just stand backstage until it was time for the opening number. And we made our entrances. And we're sitting there, and the drama desk, was it drama desk? Broadway World? I don't know, it was drama desk. Oh, no. It was some Broadway award.
They're going to be can't keep track of his
It wasn't the
nominations.
Tonys. It was something.
It was one of those.
Something else. And he goes, congratulations. I said, what do you mean? He said, on your nomination, Best Supporting Actor. And I was like, I almost started tearing up, and I played two characters. I was in the first act at the very beginning. I had a song with Daniel Radcliffe, and then I came back as another character at the very end and did a song with all the guys and John Larroquette. Two different characters. So I had that whole middle part. Great. I could write my bit for Imus. I could,
Yeah, sure.
And I run upstairs because I have my laptop. And I'm just going to see the nominations.
Oh, so when Larroquette said that to you, you didn't know?
No.
That's why you were tearing up? I'm caught up now. Okay. Yeah. I thought it was just the fact that he was saying that to you. I thought.
No. Well, that too. I mean, I was just, it was just a combination of him giving me the news, and I can't find my name. And I can't find my name. And I'm going through it. Intermission. I'm backstage. The record goes, I'm so sorry.
Come
I'm
on.
So sorry. He said it was Rob Asher, the director.
Oh.
I just saw the word Rob. And we had a big laugh about it. And then the next day, there's a trophy on my dressing room table. I forget what it said, but it was from John. It was a special award he had
hilarious.
made up for that. For that, but just.
I hope you saved that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's
I have a box fantastic
of each show that I've done with all the memorabilia, the opening cards,
cool.
The programs. If there's a T-shirt, I keep it all together.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Oh wow. See, and that's just like Jackie. At his house, that garage of his is all.
He used to live in his parents' attic.
Right.
In Oysterbeck.
Yeah.
And he had on the eaves, because it was a finished house, so he had the eaves like this. He had cards with 2 words, like the start of the joke, and then a word or two with the punchline. And he was just constantly looking at that every time he was in that room, and that's how he.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. He saves everything.
Yeah, everything.
He's got tapes and tapes and tapes.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
tapes
saying.
and
You
tapes,
walk into that garage, it's like a museum almost. Every bit he ever wrote for Howard in chronological order with Howard's notes in it. Keep this, get rid of this, change this word. I mean, bits they didn't even use. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The pictures of him and Les Paul and Keith Richards, and but this is the same thing.
It's like Joe Franklin. Remember Joe Franklin? Joe
Yes.
Franklin show?
Yeah.
It was a local talk show on Channel 9, but he used to get big stars like Liza Minnelli would do the show whenever she was in town, and he would get these big stars. Spinal Tap was on. He didn't know that they weren't real.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he had Jay Giles was his last guest before he went on.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
I have a Joe Franklin story for you in a second. But his office, and they taped the show, and he had his office on the upper floor of a building. I don't know if it was a Brill building. It was next to the Brill building, but it was above a porn theater.
Oh, nice.
And Joe would always have you come in to talk before the show. Rob Bartlett, my friends, how are you? Going to be a big star. Have you ever heard of Billy Gleason? Billy Gleason. And some vaudeville guy.
Right,
and he gets up, and because floor to ceiling, and his office was half the size of this room.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But floor to ceiling, it was all trade publications. Floor to ceiling. Mm-hmm. And he walks over to this one stack, and he pries it, and there's one sheet of paper when he pulls it out, and it's a review from Variety from 1940 something with this guy Billy Gleason. So he was like an encyclopedic knowledge. Very much like Jackie. So I'm doing this show very early on in my career. I had just done a commercial with Gloria Parker, who was the woman who played the musical Glasses.
Oh, sure.
And she had an album, it was a Christmas album, and I got to do it. It was like those times when they would do the on-demand. You get the free advertising, and then they would get a piece of whatever you sold. So I did the commercial. I didn't get paid, but I did the commercial with her. And so part of the promotion was to go on Joe Franklin. So I was on with Gloria Parker. It was me, a guy called the Holocaust poet. I don't remember his name, but he had written poetry when he was in Dachau when he was a kid.
Oh, wow.
And then a fourth guest, because there was the thing about Joe Franklin, he would try to get people from a whole bunch of different ways of life. He'd have a Broadway person, and then he would have a cabaret act, and then he would have somebody like Liza Minnelli, and then he'd have like a woman who saved string, or a guy who owned a deli that had the second best pastrami in New York, whatever it was. And then he would ask everyone to comment on everybody else on the panel. Right. He just loved it, lump people together. So I'm the low man in the totem pole. I go first. And I do my act, whatever. It's dogs at a cocktail party, whatever it was I was doing at the time. Sit down, and he interviews Rob Bartlett, my friends. Rob Bartlett's going to be a big star. We'll be right back after this message from Joseph Speakerman, 16 Varieties of Ethnic Breads, with Gloria Parker and the musical Glasses. And Gloria comes out, and she plays Silent Night in the Glasses. It's unbelievable, the music she got out of these glasses. And she was about 108 years old, beehive, blonde hair, legs, the most gorgeous legs for a woman.
Really?
Little mini skirt, and
yeah, that's right.
There we go. Gloria Parker, my friends. Gloria, Rob Bartlett, what did you think of Gloria Parker's musical Glasses? I said, she's. I noticed some dogs have shown up. I think she hit a couple of frequencies, and she was not happy about that.
Oh, wow.
And so, Gloria, what did you think of Rob Bartlett? She goes, We'll be right back, my friends, after this message from Kot Soda with Morris Karnofsky, let's say, the Holocaust poet. And I didn't know. And I turned to the cameraman. The cameraman goes. So this guy comes out. Again, he's 108. And he's reading this poetry that he had written on toilet paper or something when he was a kid. And it is heartrending. It's just I see that flower, but I can't touch it because there's barbed wire in the way. I mean, it was so moving. And the cameramen are weeping. Everyone's crying.
Yeah.
Holocaust poet, my friends. We'll be right back with Hannibal the Clown. This is the segue. Hannibal the Clown? The cameraman goes. So Hannibal comes out after the break, and she is full on clown, big shoes, the fuzzy buttons and the
squirting the water,
yeah. And she has bicycle bells and honk horns and all over her costume, which she uses because she doesn't speak. She's a silent clown, but she uses this to. She's doing a pantomime about being about a little kid at the fair who lost his balloon and playing blah, 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 blah. And she does the whole thing with the ding ding ding. She sits down and says, Hannibal the Clown, what did you think of comedian Rob Bartlett? And she goes, so what did you think of Gloria Parker and the musical Glasses? She goes, what did you think of the Holocaust poet? And she puts her hand on the bulb of the bicycle horn.
Right.
And squeezes it really slowly and softly so it goes, and she goes, it's a good thing I was on the end of the couch because the camera wasn't on me. The cameraman and I are losing it. Hannibal the Clown. This is business. You do it long enough, you'll have some stories.
That's fantastic. That's a great story. Are you? I have more names, but are you at that stage of your career where it's all just talking about the old stuff like that? Like, you know.
What do you mean? Are you trying to say it's over?
No.
No, really? Is he trying to say it's over?
No.
I mean, I just said I'm adding some stories.
And these are great stories. These are great stories.
I know they're great stories because I'm fucking telling them, and I know how to tell a story.
Which is why you're here.
I need some goddamn respect.
I'm not
dumb, like everyone says. I'm smart. I got passed over. I'm sorry.
As a referee on The Sopranos.
I turned Fredo for a second.
That was good. Henry Winkler.
Again, it's just the bigger they are, it seems like the more down to earth and nicer they are.
I say that all the time about the bigger comedians that come through here.
We did a Law and Order SVU. I was his lawyer, and we spent 3 days together, and it was just the best. Mm-hmm. I mean, talking about stories and.
Yeah,
but like he was such a generous actor. Like we'd do a take and a scene together, and they'd yell cut, and I would say, "Is there anything you want to try? Do you want?" I mean, who does that?
Yeah,
and when they do close-ups, someone else reads the lines.
Right.
Normally, a stand-in does it, or he stood next to the camera and
oh, that's nice.
So I mean, it's like
we had Kevin Pollak. On once. He tells this great story when they were doing A Few Good Men. Mm-hmm. And they got the close-up of Jack Nicholson on the stand for that powerful scene, right? So now, same thing. Nobody's going to have a stand-in for that. They want to see this, So Kevin Pollak's there. Now, I don't even think he had lines in that scene, but he's still there. And Nicholson, he is admitting to, giving the code red order, and so now the big dramatic moment. He's yelling at Tom Cruise, who's gonna challenge me? You and Caffey, I think, and then I don't know whatever Pollak's name was, Goldberg or something. And so he's yelling, who's gonna stop me? You, Caffey, you, Goldberg. So Kevin Pollak tells a story where those lines, it wasn't even in the script where he turns to Kevin Pollak's character and says that, you Goldberg or whatever his name was, you. But he just did it. It was just, it just came out. And he looked right at Kevin Pollak. Kevin Pollak said he almost shit himself. Like, because it's Jack Nicholson, and he, unexpectedly is now yelling at him. He said it was one of the most powerful things he's ever seen in his life. I thought those are great. Sorry, it's all about you. I get it. I see. Okay.
Hello.
Bob Buckman.
Oh, from BAB.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I couldn't pick him out of a lineup, but I
Oh, really? Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you guys were friends. All right.
no. He's great. Okay. He's a Long Island legend.
Yeah, absolutely. He is. Much like yourself. You guys don't have a Long Island Legend Club?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we meet every Friday.
Yeah, with a high sign or
late.
something. Yeah. All right, how about this one? Vince McMahon. You don't have to say anything if you don't want to.
No, Vince. That experience, being one of the first hosts of Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
With Macho Man and Vince McMahon, and it seemed like a good idea at the time. And sometimes I watch, or it's on YouTube, the clip of the first match, which was Yokozuna against Coco Beware. And my first line as a commentator, wow, Vince, that guy's, it's Yokozuna, who's like a 500-pound sumo wrestler.
Right.
That guy's got an ass like an amphitheater. And the whole idea was it was live, it was uncut, uncensored, and then there's a pause, and you hear Vince go, well, I don't know about that, but I thought on Monday Night Raw. It was like at that moment he knew, what have I done?
Right.
What have I done? We met at a fundraiser for Connecticut Special Olympics, and I used to do the auction stuff for them all the time.
Did he think you were one of the participants?
What do you mean?
Nothing. Go ahead.
You have this knack of just letting all the air out of the balloon. It's just.
It's what I do.
This is. I was going to say, and obviously it's working for you. So we had met at this thing, and he was sitting right up front. His table was right up front, and he was in a peach-colored velour 3-piece suit.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I did 20 minutes just on the suit, and everyone was like hysterical. I'm coming home from Imus the week after. Driving in my car, phone rings. Imus's assistant, Vince McMahon called. He wants you to call him. It's like, oh my God, now I gotta.
Right, don't get yelled at or something.
Bartlett, how'd you like to be on live TV? And he explains the whole idea of Monday Night Raw. I go up to Stamford. I do like practice shows with Macho Man and Vince, and then I turn into one of the top 10 worst wrestling announcers in history. I'm on the list. I'm not number one, but there's still time. But he's a guy who knew what he wanted. He's a guy who knew what worked for him.
Yeah.
He was like the P.T. Barnum of our age, really.
Okay.
And he was very hands-on everything.
Right.
Hands-on everything. And, and everyone was really fearful of him. But I had no stakes.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I was able to get away with some stuff with him that no one else could. He was getting an award for the charity work, the WWF at the time.
Yeah.
Before the World Wildlife Fund screwed him over. For all the charity work they do. And I got to say, no one does more charity work than those guys.
Really?
I don't know if it's in their contract or whatever, but they're always
2
or 3 children's hospital visits, whatever. And so Macho Man was going to be presenting him at the award, so I was going to be the only Raw host. And they didn't want to give me the whole show, obviously. So they brought in Bobby the Brain Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon. So I'm deciding, what am I going to do? I'm going to be Vince. So I had the costume and makeup lady turn me into Vince. Made me the big lips, I got the hair, shoulder pads and the tuxedo, the red bow tie. And I just did an impression of him. I didn't say really anything. I would just kind of imitate the way he would get excited. Suplex. Monday Night Raw. Everything was at the Monday Night Raw. And Gorilla Monsoon was getting so pissed off. Bobby the Brain thought it was hysterical. He loved it. So the Monday afterwards, this was at the hockey arena up in Poughkeepsie. I can't remember Mid-Hudson Civic Center. Because once a week we would do that instead of Manhattan Center. We would go up there. It wasn't available one Monday a month. And next Monday we're back at the Manhattan Center, and I used to have a pre-show meeting, and it was in the room where everyone, where they had the grilled chicken and the steamed vegetables and the rice and the IcoPro bars, and then everyone's kind of, kind of laughing and smiling, and give me the thumbs up. And Vince comes into the room. Silence. The room goes dead.
Wow.
And he just looks at me. Bartlett, you're fired.
Right there in front of everybody?
Yeah, but it was a joke. It was just,
Oh.
I quit. I quit about 4 weeks later. And I knew that was not going to be it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It wasn't the next week, but the week after that, I showed up to the Manhattan Center. And, took an elevator up, and I'm met at the elevator by a cameraman. And a camera on me. And I walk into the room, it's like a big ballroom where they had the ring. There's nobody in the room. No crowd, nothing. All of a sudden, there's a monitor. And Vince, they had moved, and didn't tell me. They moved the show to the Mid-Hudson and didn't tell me.
Right.
And so he's interviewing me. That was the way he got back. It was such a great prank. It was such a great prank. It's a lot of fun. But I got to say, everyone I met to a person, just the nicest, most professional. Bobby and Macho Man. I mean, Nature Boy called me sir. I mean, it's like all these guys.
Right.
It was really kind of an interesting thing. But
But you were already on Imus, right? Yeah.
It was from Imus. I think he thought, and the idea was, we were current events driven. We could comment on things that were happening in the news. That was the concept.
Right.
But I didn't know anything about wrestling.
Yeah.
And
It's like Dennis Miller and Rush Limbaugh on Monday Night Football.
Right. It just didn't make it just, and you can't really get something funny comedy out of what is already kind of larger than life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's serious, man. These guys are really serious, and they're in, like Undertaker. Every single Monday, he was on the bill. He'd be sitting in the corner without the hat, squatting with his back against the wall, staring straight ahead, not blinking, until it was time for his match.
My goodness.
And he would get, talking about getting into character.
Yeah, right.
But it just didn't, for whatever reason, it just didn't.
Did that get you into wrestling?
Well, my son was into wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And so that was kind of cool. I brought he and his buddies to a match at Madison Square Garden. I thought, we're going to be sitting ringside. And
yeah, sure.
Vince puts us on the second to last row of the garden at the time.
Wow.
So I go down,
what a guy.
I go down to the dressing room. I said, well, what's going on? I said, what are you doing? We're going to introduce you. You're going to interview Giant Gonzalez and Harvey Whippleman in the ring. Oh, okay. And we wanted to announce you and then have a spotlight follow you all the way down the walk of shame to the ring.
Oh, jeez.
To the thunderous boos. Well, I said, nah. So I made my entrance from the dressing room. Still got the thunderous boos. But I go to interview Giant Gonzalez, who's like this 7-foot-tall guy in a suit with fake fur on it. He's supposed to be Sasquatch or whatever. And, Harvey Whippleman. And he starts talking about New York. New York is crap. And the worst place on earth. It's so dirty. It's filthy. And I'm standing up in New York. It's the greatest place. It's the center of the universe. It's the greatest thing. Even then, I'm not getting the crowd on my side. And Giant Gonzalez gives me the Spock pinch and puts me down on my knees like this.
Oh, wow.
And then I performed my signature finishing move, which is running from the ring, screaming.
You and me both. I would do the same thing. So when that was over, well, and that's why I asked about Imus. So there wasn't a fear of, holy shit, what do I do now? Like there wasn't a worry like, oh, I'm going to go down in history. I'm not going to get another job because of this wrestling shit. Like you were thriving with Imus.
I was always very, Imus was obviously the big break, and Imus was the thing that allowed me to do all the other stuff. And he was really supportive in terms of letting me take the time to do it. I mean, one summer, I was rehearsing Odd Couple with Nathan Lane, and then Neil Simon asked if I would do them a favor and for the summer play the part of Herman, the manager of the dance hall in Sweet Charity with Christina Applegate.
Oh, nice.
And asked me if I would do that. So he says, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Imus is doing live TV on MSNBC from Secaucus.
Okay.
So I live on Long Island. So I'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, to get into the car, to drive to Jersey, to get into costume and makeup because we're on TV now doing
Right.
characters.
Right.
Finish around 10, and then it's post-production meeting, whatever. Get out of there about noon. Get to rehearsal at 1 o'clock. Do a rehearsal until 5. Grab a bite to eat. Go to the theater to do Sweet Charity.
Wow.
And then get back in the car and drive home, and get home around midnight. So I was getting about 3 hours of sleep a night. And
Your family must have been thrilled, though.
they were so happy.
Yeah.
They were
Get 'em
so
out of the
happy.
house.
Yeah, it was just
How long did you do that for?
a summer.
A summer.
All summer, yeah.
Wow. But
But that's what happens when you're working. That's when the work happens.
right.
When it's
And
you
it's-
could stretch it out where
Yeah.
instead of like 9 things and then nothing.
Right.
But that's always
And it's an experience you wouldn't change for the world.
oh no, not at all.
Yeah.
A perfect example. I was doing Little Shop of Horrors, and Chicago. Melanie Griffith was playing Roxy,
Okay.
and the Amos was going on vacation, and she didn't want to work with the understudy because apparently he had some kind of harassment thing. Whatever.
Oh, goodness.
And so they called me from Little Shop and asked if I would come in for the 2 weeks. And Little Shop let me out. And I did Amos to Melanie Griffith for 2 weeks. But it's like, you're in a show and now you're doing another show. It's just,
Right.
that's the thing. It's like whenever.
But that's exactly what I was talking about right from the beginning. They didn't call you to audition. They said, we need somebody for 2 weeks. Somebody get Bartlett.
Yeah, well, I was one of my favorite parts. That's one of a great role, and I was halfway decent in it. So,
Did you ever, well, I guess you had Imus through all that. So, you didn't have to worry then where your next paycheck was coming from. You were just able to enjoy the work.
yeah, I mean, as a matter of fact, when we all got fired for the incident, as I
Right.
like to call it, I was doing Chicago, so I still had a paycheck coming in.
Right, okay.
So
Yeah.
it kind of helped.
And you're, like, all these jobs, you're rich, or does your wife have a good job to support you while you're in between jobs?
I wish I knew what I did with the money. I bought a lot of lunches. I know that. I don't. Yeah, it is what it is.
I'll have to tell you, because Jackie comes in here a lot, unlike you. Jackie comes in here a lot, and most of the time, I would say 90% of the time he comes in, we go to lunch after. He's only bought once, that son of a bitch.
Jackie has the first nickel he ever made in this business. He's buried the money underneath the house. Or at the beach,
Probably the beach, yeah.
Across the street from the house.
And he digs in the sand with his penis because he goes skinny dipping every night every night at midnight or something. Did you see the documentary?
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
It really was.
Where's the Rob Bartlett documentary? Is there one? There should be.
You talk about the reason why show business is dead. There's no. I mean,
It's an interesting
it's
story.
an interesting story, but
Absolutely.
it's not, and I really don't have the ego that would have me pursue
Well, yeah.
something like I think Jackie.
Has the ego.
That was his idea. Jackie. No one promotes anything like Jackie does. Jackie's unbelievable. Again, brain surgeon homework, brain surgeon paycheck. That's it. He
Yeah,
puts in
you're
the work.
absolutely right. In all
He
seriousness,
puts
you're
in the
absolutely
work,
right.
man.
Yeah.
He really is.
Was it because you had Imus and Jackie had Stern, and those two hated each other. Did that you and Jackie just stayed out of that, or was it weird when you saw each other during that time? Did it bleed?
We knew what it was about. I mean, I went to a wedding and Baba Booey was there, and we it was fine. We just knew what it was.
Right.
But
did Imus Imus or Howard would they get mad? Like, so you're at this wedding, somebody takes a picture of you and Gary together. If Imus saw it, would he get mad?
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He didn't care.
As a matter of fact, I used to do Howard on the Amish show.
Well, what you did
I would
on
phone in as Howard.
Oh, okay, yeah.
How you doing, as Howard? Penis. Just.
I love the impressions. I always did, but of course, doing my research for today, I went back to look at a lot of them, and the Brian Wilson and the Larry Flint,
Those two were among my favorites.
So freak. Even the Mick Jagger. None of these impersonations are perfect, but you
Right.
nailed the certain things.
Right.
Now, but what I found,
It's not an impersonation. It is an impression. It's like French expressionism. It's
Right.
It's you take 2 or 3 things. It's like a caricature artist.
yes,
Which is, by the way, think about this. Let me have a total stranger pick my worst features
Right.
and exaggerate them 9 times their size, and then put me on roller skates with a balloon coming out of my mouth that says, "Here's comes trouble." It's just, it's like that. Like,
But you were doing, as these people, you were doing just commentary basically on topical current events.
yeah. So there was never a lack for things to write about.
Well, right.
But the key to that, and I think the key to any character, is to make it a fully fleshed out, living, breathing. So when you're acting, you do what they call a backstory. You figure out what happened to your character before it makes its entrance for the first time.
Right.
Because you need to know your character and your world the way God knows you and this world. You need to be that much of an expert on it. And so I would make these apocryphal stories about famous people.
Yeah.
But it would be like I did Megan McDowell, which was Dagan McDowell's sister.
Okay.
And I had this whole backstory for her. She was, it's me, fat guy with a black-haired wig, and full-on makeup and blouse, and I just had this whole backstory. She worked third shift at the Capri Lounge as an exotic dancer. What her trademark dance was, and the history of her and Dagan's husband, and having that backstory and makes the character that much richer and comes alive. So each one of these characters had its own point of view. The Larry Flint was one of my favorites because he could say anything,
right,
because of who he was,
right.
And I like the idea of
that
having
was him
who couldn't move,
right,
and then just had this little thing like this. I think it's the Thanksgiving. Oh no, the Hanukkah.
The
piece
Hanukkah
is one of my favorites. One president day for 7 days. I got a box of crayons. Blue. I've been waiting for this since Tuesday.
Right. Well, then you go into the holidays and the Jewish version of "It's a Wonderful Life."
All right. Yeah. It's a life. And then Thanksgiving was another one. And you pass the mashed potatoes. Why don't you have your whore pass you the mashed potatoes? And I think Warner Wolf. I think I busted Warner Wolf's balls on one of them too. And Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys were actually on the show when we were in Secaucus, because that was one of the great things. We had Cheap Trick. I got Cheap Trick on because Rick's my boy.
Yeah.
And the Beach Boys had a platinum record made up. You see them and it's made one for Imus and one for me.
One for you?
Because they loved the Brian Wilson.
Oh, so he wasn't there that day. Oh, okay.
Well, he got fired. He got fired from his own band, don't you remember?
Yeah, but he's been back and forth several times too, so you never know.
I feel a little bad about the way that I did it, because of course I characterized the fact that he's, dancing to his own Private Idaho. And,
But that's fantastic to get one from them.
It was cool. It was very cool.
Wow. Yeah. I know, I know some guys that played with Billy Joel when he was just first coming up, and
me too.
They Larry Russell. I don't know if you know Larry Russell.
No, Dean Krause used to be keyboardist. Dean was my piano player for my act for years.
Oh, no kidding. Mm-hmm. Start with Billy first, and then you, or so he kind of really his career kind of.
Yeah. I told you before. Who's Rob Bartlett? Can't mean Rob Bartlett.
Right, but these guys. One guy in particular, Larry Russell, he was a bass player. Mm-hmm. Columbia Records re-released Piano Man, the album, in 2011, and they put some of the bonus material was a live concert, and this guy, Larry Russell, was the bass player for this concert. This particular release of Piano Man went gold. So Larry gets a call, you've earned your gold record. Oh, so we'll send one over to you for payment of, he had to pay for his own gold record. Now, the Beach Boys is a whole different level, but I'm sure somebody had to, pay for that. So it's the Beach Boys, and they probably paid. So that's quite an honor, man, to have something from the Beach Boys.
It's like when you win an Emmy, you have to pay.
Right.
For the Emmy. You have to pay for each category you're nominated in, whether you get it or not.
Right. Yeah, but then you get all the swag afterwards, which is like several $1,000s worth of swag.
The local Emmys.
Well, the local. Oh, sorry.
I
You're
didn't
talking
get
about
the
the local
big
Emmys.
statue. Only Joey Cola gets the big statue.
Well, come on, apples and oranges. But what I like, what I like about your characters, again, and first off, I don't. You tell me if I'm wrong or not, but which I probably am. To do topical stuff behind, as these characters almost makes it. I don't want to say easier, but almost more acceptable when they're, instead of, if you're playing yourself and you're making fun of whatever's going on at the time. People be like, oh, he's looking at a grouchy old prick making fun. But when you do it as a character, it's funny. No? You got to get that? You're buzzing like crazy. Or is that your pacemaker? What's going on?
Hello? Hey. I'm still on. That's okay. How's it going with you?
He really is talking to someone.
What do you need? Yes. I know. I spoke to them already.
Yeah.
It's all taken care of. You're welcome. No worries. I'll talk to you later. All right. Love you. Bye. I'm sorry, you were saying?
I don't even know. You know Brian Scalero, comedian?
No.
He got a call in here once. He was playing the club. He was playing the brokerage. He's based out of Queens. He's been on a few. Remember Pamela Anderson had a sitcom for like 5 minutes? Mm-hmm. He was on that. Okay. He's been on a few things. He's a comedian. And he was playing the brokerage. He's just where you are. Same thing. Gets a call. Answers it while we're talking. Only to find out that they moved him from the brokerage to McGuire's. And he gets all pissed off because he felt his people are in Queens. He thought, getting them to the brokerage was hard enough. So now he's got to get them out to Bohemia. So he was like, he threw a fit after taking a phone call right here live on the air. That's the whole story. So what I like about your characters is that not only were you doing the topical humor as these characters, but I think about Elvis. You would do song parodies, mm-hmm. but it would work based on whatever it is you're making fun of. But the words rhymed with "Don't Be Cruel." I think was one that you did as Elvis.
When you're doing song parody, it's got to sound as much like the original as possible to me.
But that's the clever part from you to come up with that.
The words need to almost sound like the same rhymes.
Right, exactly.
You can't make up stuff
so to take
fit the meter.
Right, but to take topical stuff like that and to make that work, to come up with, okay, what song would work with this top? You did Mick Jagger, and what was it, Sympathy for the Devil, I think you used for whatever the topical... I mean, that's not... Come on, I'm trying to give you credit for once. I mean, that's hard stuff, and you made it work.
It's like anything else. It's like a...
No, it's not.
A home run hitter is a home run hitter, and...
And not everyone is a home run hitter.
Exactly. So it's whatever you're good at. I mean, I'm sure there's something somewhere that you're good at. And
I haven't found it yet.
I'm going to say, when you find it,
I'll let you know.
Try the shoe tying thing. That's a pretty...
Shoe tying's easy for me.
There you go.
Because all I got to do is just, Thanks for that softball.
Never be said that I am not willing to tee something up for somebody. That is great. Yeah. You know what? You don't have to prove yourself to me in any other fashion. I am now humbled.
Wow.
I humbled
Ron Bartlett.
I am not worthy.
Yes, you are.
That was fucking genius. That was just, what? It's about timing. That's it.
Thank you for that softball.
That's great.
Oh
my God, that's great.
Name your price. I'll take some one-legged jokes. When I go out there, that's my whole act. It's just one-legged jokes. Yeah.
How do I know you and not know about you?
Because you don't pay attention.
That's
really.
true.
Yeah.
You don't really, I know you, but I don't really care much about you.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, shit. You're Rob Bartlett. You got, you hang out with Nelson and
you wonder why
Joey
I
Cole.
wanted to do this show.
Yeah, exactly. I still can't believe you'd bothered to come in.
Too easily impressed.
Somebody, somebody must have owed you. Somebody that likes me must have owed you
Too easily impressed.
What's your preparation between, say, doing an IMUS or doing any kind of comedy and then doing something like Law and Order: The Good Wife. Is it the same? Is it just
Well,
it's all performance or?
Yeah, I mean, I always wanted to be an actor. I started doing stand-up, thinking it was a way of getting into acting easier.
So that was always the goal.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And you know, so stand-up was something that I always kind of entertained anyway.
Yeah.
Because I was the class clown and all that kind of stuff, and it was a very romantic ideal to be a stand-up comedian. And then you become one, and you realize I was misinformed. But you know, it all comes from, and because you know, my act is mostly characters. It's not a lot of observation. Although over the years, I added a bunch of observational stuff, but it was mostly characters from the acting standpoint. So that's where my training is really. And again, it's just if you do the work and you have a relatively halfway decent amount of manageable talent, then it's not brain surgery.
Right, absolutely right. All right, that's give me some. I mean, that's basically what we've been talking about. But give me some memorable moments. Like, I mean, you must have so many stories through the years, even as recent as The Good Wife. I mean, there's so many different. You have such a variation of stuff.
When I auditioned for Elementary, it was for a police captain. Mm-hmm. And all my life, I just wanted to play a cop. That was where I could die a happy man now because I've played a cop on TV. And
well, you want to do one of those typical buddy cop scenarios?
Yeah. I just wanted to be like
Lethal Weapon,
behind a corner of a brick building, and then put the weapon down. But this was the captain, so he wore jacket and tie. The storyline was. The captain, Sherlock and Watson, the precinct he worked for, Aidan Quinn, got shot. And so he needed somebody to fill in for him, and I was his old buddy. So I was running both precincts, his and mine. And I go into the audition, and I'm dressed, like a police captain, shirt, tie, white socks, black shoes.
Right.
And I'm the only white guy in the room.
Oh, wow.
It's all big time African-American actors, big time, like names. You've seen them on TV. I mean, it was just packed. I thought, this is not going to happen.
Yeah.
This is not, I'm obviously never going to get this. Went in and did the cop that I've been practicing doing since I'm 16 and ended up getting the part. It's not a particularly amusing story, but it's just part of the process.
It sounds to me like you're just saying you're better than the black men. That's what it sounds like to me. You just said.
That's what we want you to do right now. That's something I want to have attached to me.
You're the one who said it. And so I asked for memorable moments, and that's what you come up with?
Well, because it shows like what expectation is and what reality is. It's like when I always tell, because I teach.
Right.
Acting online. I have the rbstudio.com, and I help kids who are auditioning for drama programs. I do online. I got a bunch of students. I have a student from Belfast, Ireland. I work with him every week.
Wow.
On Zoom. But I always say, auditions are performances, so you need to be as prepared for an audition as you would for an actual performance.
Sure.
And you need to forget it once it's done. Do it. Do your best. Do the homework. And when it's done, it's done. And it's kind of like life is what happens to you when you're busy making other plans. Mm-hmm. It's when you're not looking that it happens. It's
right.
like, falling in love. Just when you thought
right.
you were going to find somebody, boom, they come into your life. It's just
which is interesting because I know plenty of actors who will go for an audition and then they're so mad when they didn't get it. And I read it well, and why this guy. You don't know what they're looking for. You never, and it usually has nothing to do with your performance. You probably did knock it out of the park, but they wanted somebody a little more, Italian, or they wanted somebody with blonde hair instead.
Sometimes it could be the color of your shirt.
Yeah, right.
When I used to do a one-man show at Club 1407 in Manhattan. It was a luncheon club during the week for the garment district.
Okay.
And it was vacant on weekends. So my manager, Gary, and I put together this thing. I'd have an opening act, do up singers, whatever, or another comic. I had a piano player, and did this one-man show, which eventually turned into my show, More to Love, on Broadway. 16 previews for performances. The pull quote from the Times was "avert your eyes." So, one night we had a group of deaf people bought group tickets, so about 40 of them, and they brought their own interpreter.
Okay.
And so I was doing my act, and the interpreter was signing my act as I was doing it.
Yeah.
But it took longer for the signing than for me speaking, so there'd be 2 laughs. I'd do the joke and get a laugh, and then a couple seconds later, he'd finish signing it, and then get a laugh from the deaf people.
Yes.
So it was one of those things that just mess with the timing all night. I get through the whole thing, and all the deaf people are lined up to get the interpreter's autograph. It's almost like they thought I was translating for the hearing people. But
That I actually saw that here once.
keeps you humble.
The comedians were coming off like disheveled, because it was screwing up their timing, because they're telling the jokes to half of the room that hears, and the interpreter, like you said, takes a little longer. So, and then they said too and I didn't know this until that night. Deaf people, they don't applaud; they put their hands up like this. So the first few comedians, they got applause, and then they're continuing, and all of a sudden, a bunch of people going like this. They're like, "What the fuck was that?" And then so of course we went out and watched this. And in fact, Joey was here for that, and he started messing with the interpreter. He started impersonating the interpreter, and it was like the two of them were dancing. You had to be there. It was very funny. Talking about Joey
I
Cola.
thought making a stick up, like they were robbing the audience.
Right. Yeah, it was really funny to, and to see the comedians, like, they didn't know what to do with it, because they're not as, professional as
you were.
I was talking about you. One was, now I couldn't find it, and I'm sure it's out there, but I read on your Wikipedia, which I'm assuming you wrote yourself, that one of your characters on Imus was Yoko.
Mm-hmm.
Did you actually? So I did. I went online. I couldn't find anything. But did you actually used to impersonate her?
Yeah. It was,
Every time I hear her making those noises, I laugh my ass off.
Speak like this, and she would come up with haiku. Every time she appeared, she would do haiku, and so it would be things like, "I see the flower blooming, the gentle rain falls. My husband is dead." all the haikus ended with "my husband is dead," but I would follow the strict 5-7-5 syllable thing of haiku. But all of them ended with my husband is dead.
Oh, she never impersonated her singing.
I did.
Oh, did you?
And the comedy hour, I did.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah, the radio comedy hour.
All right, I'll have to look for that.
She would. I would like to do now I would like to sing a very special song. It's called "Death and the Maiden."
I once, I think it was for his birthday or something, I took a video of my brother, him performing somewhere, and then I inserted that one clip of her at an art exhibit or whatever she is, and I inserted that in there. I was so proud of myself. I could listen to her singing all day. I laugh every time I hear it.
Right. She did, was it with Elephant's Memory? They were doing some
with Chuck Berry?
live show.
Mike Douglas.
Right. And
The look on his face.
I love that more than life itself. It's just, she starts and it's like, it's one of those takes where, but he also did it, I guess it was the Toronto Rock and Roll Festival or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess one of the band members had not realized that she was going to be doing a solo. And the look on their face is just...
Well, you know who that band member is, because if you watch that film, he's laughing his ass off. That's Eric Clapton.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. He's playing Elephant's Memory?
No. Toronto, though, was Plastic Ono, which Clapton was in.
Right.
Clapton was a part of that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, stick with me, pal. I'll teach you.
He shows up in strangest of places.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Harrison's wife's bedroom.
That's true. And then stays best friends with Harrison.
You know what? You really got to be a guy.
Or either that or they just had some really powerful drugs. Harrison probably 10 years later for Harrison even noticed.
No, he was very chill, George.
Well, then George ended up banging Ringo's wife.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, Maureen. That's why Ringo and Maureen ended up getting divorced. Yeah, it's very
I
incestuous.
was going to say it is very incestuous.
The only one who stayed out of that, I think, was McCartney. He was the only one that. He's the only one, in my opinion, that seemed to just kind of mentally have it all together.
Yeah.
Like even look at his kids; they're all geniuses in their own fields. Like he just always seemed to have it together. That guy.
Yeah.
Very jealous.
When you get $1 billion as your cigarette money.
Yeah, right. It's true. All right, it is. It's time for us to go. What do you? Anything you want to promote? The comedy, the radio comedy hour, anything?
You get your 5 favorite funny films or the rbstudio.com if you're interested in learning something about acting. But I just want to. We were talking before about putting things in perspective, and I had a dream where I was, and it was during COVID.
Okay.
Remember, everyone was having like these really weird dreams.
Yeah.
And I had this dream. I was walking on a beach, and there was a person walking next to me, and somehow I knew the person was God. And I don't know how I knew this in the dream. But,
Okay.
And on the horizon was almost like this slideshow of moments of my life. And, like when my son was born, when I got married, all these really great moments. But in each one of the slides was God.
Yeah.
And then it started to get dark, and then the slides were parts of my life that were awful. Like when I had, my Crohn's was the worst, and I almost died on the operating table. And, my mother died, and all these horrible things. My brother was killed in an automobile accident, all these horrible, horrible things. And God's not there. And so I turned to this figure that I knew as God. I said, you were there for all these great moments, but the moments when I could have used you there, you weren't. Why is that? And God said, "It's all about you, isn't it, fat boy?"
I was laughing the whole time. I knew something good was coming. That's fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Rob Bartlett, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
This was a highlight for me, pal. Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Pogo.
Absolutely. So what, rjb.com?
It's the RB Studio.
I was close.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
But 5 favorite funny films and the Rob Bartlett Radio Comedy Hour.
And the 5 funny films you're still doing those?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll wait for the invite. Thanks.
You have to be a funny person.
Right. But call me. I'll hook you up with something from the club. All right. It is time for us to go. Today is Friday. I think that's it for the day. I don't think there's anything else showing here today. I don't think Don put together a Donversations for tonight. So that's it for the weekend.
For the 4 of you who were watching, thank you.
That's it. We're right now at currently at 11. So, but we did all right.
All right. So is there any interesting things that I had to say?
Actually, no.
Okay.
No, they're all talking to each other. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend. Yeah.
They use it
It's
not
true.
to watch, to learn more about the comedy legend. They want to just talk to each other.
They do that all the time.
Shut-ins.
The comedy entertainment today is mediocre if possible. That's
great. Thank you.
And that's from a guy named Dear God. And that's pretty much all there is about the actual show today.
Okay.
All right. But I guarantee I get it. I'll get at least 2 people today will contact me and say, "Oh, that was great." With
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm sorry it took me so long to get
No,
here.
not at all. Not at all. Just glad you're here, pal.
And I love the Shemp.
Hey, we'll see you guys Monday. Monday is the big day. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think I counted wrong. Story of my life. That's we have a whole bunch of shows going on Monday because we're closed on Tuesday, and then Wednesday starts the big weekend. So we got a lot of shows coming your way on Monday. So get ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. And don't forget at the with Governors. Let's see, Thanksgiving Eve down there in Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. Governor's Comedy Club presents Long Island Comedy Comes to Florida Thanksgiving Eve. Carrie Carabas and Fat Jay. That's going to be a great show.
Fat Jay.
Are you aware of Fat Jay?
No, but what a great name.
It is a great name. He's great. You should check him out. December 13th, Gov's Comedy Club podcast presents Mike Pachetti and Friends with the evil twins of comedy. That would be Don Jameson and Mark Riccadonna. That's going to be a great show. I'm doing a few minutes on that show as well. And then Don Sill is going to host a Q&A with the comedians after the show. December 21st at McGuire's. My Murder Mystery Troupe, Knockem Dead Comedy, we're performing December 21st at McGuire's in Bohemia. Our guest from yesterday, Elio Pace. If you guys, anybody's going to be in England next week, he's got 2 shows in England. Go see him. He's fantastic. David Clark is doing his Elton John thing at Westbury Music Fair. His Elton John and Billy Joel thing at Westbury Music Fair, December 27th. And just added January 24th in the Giggle Room, Fresh Brewed Comedy with G.D. Fenderson from Coffee and the Dog. That's one of the shows we have here on this station.
So in the murder mystery thing
yes.
you do,
yes.
I'm assuming you play the victim?
People wish I would play the victim, but no, I do not. I like you. You're not the only one. You're not the only one that writes and directs and acts and stuff. I wrote and directed these things.
Good for you.
Yeah, I've been doing it actually for a long time, almost 30 years.
Everybody needs a hobby.
Exactly. And, of course, don't forget, last but not least, go vote for Hershey and the Keegs. That's another show we have here. Mike Keegan. Do you know Mike by any chance? No? Okay. Mark Hirschman and Mike Keegan. Hershey and the Keegs. Please vote for them. Best of Long Island for Best Podcast. Are you up for Best of Long Island for anything?
No.
I didn't think so. There you go. So go vote for them. You can vote once a day. And
notice I let you get a couple in.
Yes, and I appreciate that. You make me feel like
that one move, man. That's legendary.
Yeah.
That's going to be a story I'm going to tell forever.
Joey Cole. The first time I ever hosted for Joey, during the show, he came up to me. He goes, "That leg thing, that's killer. You got to keep that in." There was something else that I did. He's like, "You got to get rid of that." He goes, "But the leg stuff was killer." And this is right in the middle of the show. He hadn't even gone up yet.
Yeah, well, Joey thinks a lot of himself, obviously.
Well, yeah. Did you reach out to him? He just had his first grandchild. Did you reach out to him?
No, he didn't reach out to me when I had my first grandchild.
Do you have grandchildren?
Yeah, 3.
3?
Yeah.
I can't believe somebody let you have kids with them. How many kids do you have?
I have 4.
You have 4 children?
4 boys.
Oh, wow. And everybody's feeling good? I know one of them, along with yourself, has Crohn's and stuff.
My middle guy has got Crohn's. No joke. 4 guys, the middle guy. 4 sons, the middle son. Forget it.
Yeah,
yeah. I've got to explain it.
I thought there was more coming.
No,
yeah.
that's all right.
You were doing so well. Now we got to end on that.
I think I'm this. Jesus.
Rob Bartlett, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we'll see you guys later. Have a great weekend.
Tony, I love you. Tony's got half of us. Some say that it's made of glass. He fell on it one August day, broke his ass in many ways. Humpty Dumpty had a fall. Tony Walker was the wall. Had an issue with his leg. Now he thinks he's egg. He ate an egg. My friend Tony Walker. I'll punch you right in the freaking eye. It's not you, Tony. I can never punch you because I love you too much. I can't punch somebody like you. And you can't even run after me. It's not even a fair fight. It's not even fair. All right? Tough guy? Tony, you're a phony baloney. I'm gonna cry. Tony, you're the best. You're hysterical.